It's game week 3 of the Premier League, which means Chelsea take on newly promoted Luton Town at Stamford Bridge. But who will start and how will we play? Let's get right to it. Welcome to the lead-in. Lads, lasses and the rest of the masses, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mono from Mono CFC, and let's not delay any further. Chelsea will be looking to rectify our woeful loss against West Ham last Sunday, and the team that stands in front of us are probably the perfect opposition to do that. Like always, I'm going to be predicting the lineups that I believe will play, and show how I believe each team could set up tactically. So, without further ado, let's firstly look at our opponents for this match. Luton Town were a miraculously promoted team last year, getting through the Championship playoffs after being down on aggregate in the semi-finals, then beating Coventry in a penalty shootout to earn their place in the top flight. Their story is a rather incredible one, and I'd suggest reading about it if you haven't already. Due to them being newly promoted, we don't have many recent games against Luton to compare against, the two of note being 2 successful FA Cup ties in the last year or so. You'd have to go all the way back to the mid-90s to find the next game between us, which we also won. A lot of people expect Luton to be the proverbial whipping boys of the league this season, but I actually think they'll do a little better than most are giving them credit for. I actually didn't predict them to finish bottom of the table in my Premier League predictions like a lot of people did, and that is aided by some semi-decent transfer business from the Hatters. They've brought in Marvellous Nakamba permanently now, and Tahith Chong, Ryan Giles from Wolves, and the young Issa Kabore on loan from City, who's gotten straight into their first team. As well as a few other additions, one of which is ex-Chelsea midfielder Ross Barkley. We've only had one competitive game to study so far. They have not been able to play home games just yet due to stadium issues, that being their game against Brighton, which ended in a 4-1 loss. That scoreline may sound bad, but to be quite honest, they were doing rather well in the game. They stayed in the game and were only 1 goal down until the 85th minute when Adingra scored to put the Seagulls 3-1 up. Not only that, but they fashioned openings in this game against a very good Brighton side, and if they could have taken maybe just one of their chances, they could have been fighting for a point. That being said, I don't think we should be overlooking Luton in this one, because they can and will make the game difficult for us. So how will they plan on trying to achieve that? Let's look at the team. Luton, managed by Rob Edwards, seem to favour a 3 or 5 at the back formation, and against a strong side like Chelsea, I don't see them changing from that very system. So for this lineup, I'll be putting them into the 3-5-2. First up in goal is a bit of a toss-up. Luton have bought 2 brand new keepers, and though Thomas Kaminski started the previous game against Brighton, I'm going to be putting in the very experienced head of ex-Newcastle and Brighton goalie Tim Krul. I'm putting him in here simply because he is vastly more experienced in the Premier League than his counterpart and brings more leadership to the side. For the back 3, it's going to be exactly the same as last time out, with Mads Andersen on the right of the trio, Captain Tom Lockyer in the central centre-back spot, and Amari Bell finishing the trifecta on the left. Moving into the midfield, and this is where I feel they are strongest, let's start with the previously mentioned Issa Kabore in the right wing-back spot, who was one of the better players in the Brighton game. Next to him, I'm going to be putting in Mpanzu, though I wouldn't be surprised to see him replaced by Cauley Woodrow after he was rather poor and was the sole reason for one of the goals they conceded. In the centre will be ex-Aston Villa midfielder Marvellous Nakamba, who will likely sit slightly deeper and be the main defensive mid in the team. On the left of the 3 central mids will be ex-Manchester United prospect Tahith Chong. There is definitely a chance that Ross Barkley could slot into one of these central roles, but I feel as if he won't be ready for a start yet and may get some minutes from the bench instead. Knowing our luck, he'll likely score a 90th minute screamer that costs us the win. Lastly, over on the far side will be the aforementioned Wolves outgoing Ryan Giles. Finally, the 2 up top, I'm going to be putting in the deadly duo of Carlton Morris and Elijah Adebayo. These two are both extremely dangerous strikers, and I have zero doubts that they are going to cause us some issues. In terms of how Luton play, it's pretty straightforward considering the personnel that they have and the system that they use. The 2 up top are both very good in the air and allow Luton to play Route 1 football. Long passes from the wide centre-backs often find success, whether that be up to Morris in more central areas where he can act like a target man, or Adebayo who can run the channels as well. Adebayo in particular is a player that I like the look of. He's very tall, somewhere between 6'3 and 6'5, I can't find a definitive answer online, but isn't your typical tall striker. He's actually quite technically gifted on the ball and reminds me a lot of former Blue Tammy Abraham. Also, he has one of the longest names I think I've ever seen. I'm not going to try and pronounce this, but shout out to my Nigerian fans out there that can. His strike partner was Luton's player of the season last season, scoring 20 goals and getting 7 assists too, so we will have to shepherd these two if we want to shut Luton out. The wing-backs allow them to play the ball out wide and stretch the centre of the pitch, then try to hit the strikers in the box with crosses. They do like to commit men into the box and will be another scary prospect from set plays like West Ham were last time out. They will have to try and find a way to counter-attack against us, as they will opt to concede possession against us. I fear that this game could end up playing out similar to our previous game, with Chelsea trying to find an answer to a stubborn defence. That being said, I don't think Luton are particularly organised at the back. I said earlier that they defended well against Brighton at times, but this was more down to effort and graft and putting bodies on the line than actual good defensive play. Unlike West Ham, I think Luton are more susceptible in the central areas, despite them trying to make those areas compact with the three in midfield. Now from the Hatters to the Lions, let's talk about Chelsea. Real quick, if you're enjoying the content and want to see more, please consider subscribing to the channel. Cheers. Starting with the formation, I think it's time we abandon this system experiment and go back to what we were doing in pre-season. Poch is a very intelligent coach, and I don't expect him to keep doing the same things over and over and expecting something to change. So for that reason, I'm going to be pushing us back into the 4-2-3-1. So first up in goal, I'm going to be putting in our new number 1, Robert Sanchez. He hasn't really been able to showcase his skills quite yet. Most of the goals he's conceded he didn't get much of a chance with, and hopefully this game will be more comfortable for him with a lesser quality side against him. His height will be very valuable for claiming high balls that we know are coming our way, so let's hope he can push on now and start getting some clean sheets, especially with soon to be new arrival George Petrovic breathing down his neck for the number 1 spot. For the back four, this is going back to what I think we should have played against West Ham, with one of the centre-backs being dropped. In the right-back spot, it's a player who I don't think got enough plaudits for his performance last time out, Malo Gusto. I think he was rather faultless against West Ham, and as James is out for an extended period through injury, he will retain his place. For the two centre-backs, I'm going to be going with Axel Disasi on the right-hand side, and Levi Colwill on the left-hand side. I'm dropping Thiago Silva out of the lineup because, if I'm being honest, he was poor in the West Ham game, and I genuinely feel as if he's finally starting to slow down. As I discussed in my post-match breakdown, he was largely at fault for Antonio's goal, and the worrying thing was his lack of effort to try and get back and help out defensively, like we've seen him do countless times in the past. I think the passing range of Disasi and Colwill is too important to drop either one of those two, as we utilised Axel's direct balls into Jackson or Enzo in order to create many chances last time out. Not only that, but once again we will need aerially superior centre-backs, and Thiago is just statistically worse at aerial duels than Levi and Disasi. Over on the left-hand side, it's going to be our captain for this game once again, Ben Chilwell. The winger experiment is over in my eyes, and Chilwell needs to return to playing where he is best, as an offensive-minded left-back who can make overlaps and be the spare man. Now that Lewis Hall is gone to Newcastle, I expect Ian Maatsen to be given opportunities, but unfortunately I don't expect this to be one of them. As for the midfield, I think we are going to see 2/3 of our first choice midfield in this one. Lavia is still doing individual training as he needs to gain more fitness, so he will definitely not be playing in this one. With Andre Santos leaving on loan, there's a very small chance that we see Leslie Ugachukwu get a decent amount of minutes in this one too, as we continue to work towards our rebuilt midfield. That being said, the two players I'm going to be putting in the base of my midfield are going to be Conor Gallagher and new man Moises Caicedo. With more training under his belt, I feel that Caicedo will be better up to speed in this one, and he's looked pretty sharp in training from what we've been shown. I personally don't think he was as bad in the West Ham game as people keep saying, and that the late penalty he gave away has impacted people's overall perception of how he played. I'm pairing him with Conor Gallagher because I don't think Caicedo looked particularly comfortable as a lone six, and might need some support in that area as he continues to settle into the blue of Chelsea. For the three attacking mids, I'm going to be switching this up slightly. Noni Madueke starts for me on the right hand side. Now that he's got some minutes, I think he'll get a start in this one. Mudryk is out with an undisclosed injury and won't feature, so Noni will be taking his place as Chilwell moves back to left back. Over on the left hand side is the rejuvenated Raheem Sterling. I'd like to see Raz get a game on his favoured left hand side now that he's got his confidence back. He was electric last time out, but his crossing wasn't the best, so I'd like to shift him to the other side where he can cut inside and take shots instead. His best action of the game against West Ham, winning a penalty from Thomas Tuchel, actually came about because he swapped over to the left hand side, so let's get another player of the match performance out of him and get him on the score sheet too. In the centre, I'm going to be putting in Enzo Fernandez. Now, I know he is not traditionally a cam, but I think this will be more of a fluid 8/10 position, where he finds himself higher up than usual due to Connor and Caicedo being more defensive minded. Pochettino discussed the idea of Enzo being played as a 10, and he admitted that he could possibly play there, which suggests to me that he might opt to do that now that we have lost both Nkunku and Chukwuemeka to injury. And finally, up top is going to be the ever tenacious Nico Jackson. I think this is the perfect time for Jackson to step up and be the one to get the ball rolling in terms of scoring goals, as Luton's shaky, panic-filled defence will be exactly what a willing runner and committed presser like Jackson would like to see. I think he'll be able to capitalise on those nervy moments, and I almost guarantee that he'll get his first competitive goal for the club in this one. As for how we will play, I think we are going to play slightly similar to how we played against West Ham, but hopefully with a bit more end product this time. But before I talk about that, it's time for the question of the day. As always, I'm going to highlight some of the comments from the last video, so here are a few responses to the last QOTD. Thanks guys for your continued support as ever. If you want your comment to be featured in the next video, leave your answer to this video's question of the day down below with QOTD at the start. So for this week's question of the day, we'll go for a slightly trickier one. Who do you think will score and when in the game will they score? Alright, so how will we play? Well, I believe we will operate as a hybrid between the 4-2-3-1 and the 4-3-3, which I've done breakdowns of in the past. If you're interested, those videos will be linked down in the description as ever. With Enzo playing as the 10 in this system, I think the setup will be rather fluid, and we'll swap between looking like a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3 with Enzo on the right of the 3, depending on whether Luton are pressing us or not. In situations where we need an extra body in midfield, I think Connor will drop deep with Caicedo, and Enzo will stay higher in order to receive those direct passes from Disasi or even Caicedo to play out from the back quickly. If Luton decide to sit off of us, I can see us utilising the 4-3-3 more, with Connor getting higher on the left and Enzo on the right, with Moises sitting in the deeper role. In this case, we will likely push our fullbacks, most likely Chilwell for the most part, up high and try to pen the wing-backs back, not allowing them to get high up the pitch as an outlet if we lose the ball. We will likely opt to play slowly and wait for Luton to make a mistake, then capitalise on that mistake after a long spell of possession. If we struggle to break them down, I feel as if we will allow Madueke and Sterling to cut inwards in order to either open up spaces out wide for our overlapping fullbacks, or provide opportunities for themselves to get into the box with neat dribbling and cause issues in and around the area. I don't recommend us going for crosses because once again, Luton are a rather tall team, and we'd likely make zero inroads from those situations. Instead, we should get into these areas if possible and cut back the ball to either Connor or Enzo, who are both capable of striking the balls from outside the box or just inside the area. If we are going to opt to utilise crosses, then once again I implore our team to hit these low, as low crosses could result in mistakes, corners or even own goals, if not a goal in the first place. With Luton not being the most confident team in defence, I think we should try and force as many mistakes as possible, as we saw Brighton were able to do in the previous game. I think Chelsea are going to start fast in this one, eager to right our wrongs from last time out. We are going to be super motivated to get back on track, and I almost feel sorry for Luton that they had to be the team standing in our way, because I expect us to try and really take the game to them. As ever, I will be live tweeting my reactions to the match over on Twitter, so if you do not follow me over there, make sure you do so you do not miss that. And as a reminder, after the game on Sunday, I will be doing live GBU. About 30 minutes after the game finishes, I will be streaming on this channel, but if you can't make it to the stream, do not worry, all of the streams will be uploaded as VODs on this channel. For a score prediction, I think we'll comfortably win this game, and I think we should absolutely batter Luton, but I don't actually expect us to be clinical enough, so I'm going to go for 2-0 Chelsea. I'm going to say that our goals will come from Sterling first with an early goal in the 15th minute, and then another goal early on in the second half for Nico Jackson. But that was just my lead-in match preview for Chelsea vs Luton. Thank you ever so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on these possible lineups in the comment section below, and if you'd be so kind, subscribe to the channel and leave the video a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss a video from me, or check out some of the other videos on the channel on screen right now. I've been Mono from Mono CFC, and remember, in the rain or in the dry, keep that blue flag flying high. Come on, you Blues.